da, da, da. Hey, what's going on, beautiful men and women, ladies and gentlemen, all of that good stuff. I'm excited. I'm coming in here just to give you all a quick blurb. I know I haven't necessarily been as active in here, and I hope that those of you that know the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God, understand why that's been this way. So I definitely haven't been slacking, even though I'm nappy. But um, there's just a lot of work that goes into preparation. And so I had a conversation with a client today, and I've had some reflection that I've had to deal with in my own journey. And I wanted to come and share some wisdom and some insight with you all about this because I had a client who was dealing with some confidence issues. And in dealing with her confidence issues, I had to ask her a couple questions about where she was at in her business, what level of success she had. And I even asked her about her retention of her clients during COVID, which was actually much better than she had given herself credit for. And I told her, I said, in a time like now, when people are extremely conscious about every dollar that they spend, the fact that the people that you have haven't left, and then the one that did leave, you rebounded and got a new one after that, says a lot about the respect and expertise that the people that are around you that they have for you. And so one of the things that I've always said is celebrate the little things. And most of us, we want to have these quantum leaps, and quantum leaps are very, very real. I'm gonna tell you something though, but when they come, they will freak you out. If you ain't ready, you know how have you ever watched the interview when they were like, "Did you know the success would always come?" And some people be like, "Yeah," but that's because they've conditioned their mind and their spirit, and they have this expectation. You know, they've been visualizing themselves with the championship belt. They've been visualizing themselves getting the Grammy or the. They've been visualizing themselves on the stage one day like Les Brown, and so it isn't that it surprises them. It's just that because they didn't expect it, it's just that they didn't know the exact day that it was going to occur. And so there's something about the essence of what they've embodied that allows them to absorb it more readily than some people. And some people are actually even resistant towards it. But I'm here to tell you that if you don't celebrate the little things and you don't appreciate all of these little microscopic steps that you have to take on the destination to get where you're going to have small growth spurts, and you're probably not going to experience a quantum leap. Now, this isn't about the quantum leap. This is just about the point of progression, period. And the greatest thing that you could ever do to ensure that you progress at a hardcore, intense, steady state is to have an attitude of gratitude and to really be focused and appreciate where you are. Because a lot of people, you could want to be like Eric Thomas. You could want to have your one percenters club, but you don't know, if you don't know Eric Thomas's story, then you don't know, like, for instance, because I read his book and I forgot, it's got the word success in it. It was one of his first books that he gave away. And I remember reading his book, and he was elaborating on how he had this idea to do a community service oriented project, teaching, people in inner cities, drug dealers, stuff like that, what they needed to know in order to get their GED. But what a lot of people don't know is that he funded that out of his own pocket. And he did that faithfully, religiously, habitually for about an entire year. And after a while, he was at the point where his budget was busted. And he went and stood before the people and said, we've been doing this for a while. You know what I'm saying? And it just doesn't look like things are going to work out. This will be our last week together. And I remember him expounding, it might have been several of them, but one of the drug dealers was like, "Man, you a fraud. You know what I'm saying? You up here talking all this shit about how we supposed to keep our head up, push no matter what. You don't even do what you say. What you mean the program is over?" And he was so convicted because he had to eat the words that he spewed out, that he was, challenging in his mind that attitude of gratitude, that fortitude to still stand. And he ended up coming back. And to his surprise, this would be the day that the suits would show up. Now, why these suits then showed up, he don't know. But when everything was over with, after pouring out all that he had to give, they said, "We like what you're doing here. We've heard a lot about you. and we want to fund this program. And his life completely changed. Matter of fact, his most powerful book, his first book that he created, he had to hold on one second. Lord have mercy. I told my cousin to call me. I gotta sorry about that. He gave away. And when his mentor was like, give it away, he's like, give it away. You know how much energy I finally put into finally writing the book? But he gave it away. And he had joy, and he realized why it was important to give it away, but he didn't realize how he was going to pivot his entire career. And so it's in the things that we do that we don't necessarily always feel the most rewarded for that the reward comes. And I'm telling you, some of you, you like August Will. It was just a year for Eric Thomas. I'm going to need that thing to change for me right now. Everybody's journey is different. Let me tell you something. I've been doing the summits that I do since 2017. And I did skip 1 year, but we're talking about a woman who puts on 2 powerhouse summits every single year, 2017, 2019, now in 2020. But ever since the very first summit, and there are people here to testify to it, that there was an extraordinary amount of effort from day one. The workbooks, the live panels, the promoting, the giving the speakers more, feeding them, saturating them with promotion and all that stuff. I poured my heart into it. And you know what I've had to do every single go round? Every single go round, I've had to mature and celebrate the successes and not trip off of what looked like losses or not getting the level of success I desired. Even this past spring, which the Business Mastery Summit was extraordinary. But I remember like the first 2.5 weeks, I'm like, nobody's registered. Like this is the summit that everybody registered for. Everybody want to know how to run a profitable, sustainable business. And considering that COVID is here, and we talking about visibility, and now everybody realize they got to be. I mean, it seemed like a no-brainer that everybody should sign up. And it wasn't until towards the end, like an avalanche of people came, and you hear people talk about the last minute purchases and stuff like that. But I will always have to deal with a little bit of wrestling in my spirit because y'all know I'm still waiting on that day. I can tell y'all openly, y'all don't have to know all of my business specifically, but I have no problem talking about my journey. I still feel like that's a summit where I should have easily had 1,000 people sign up. I feel like with me having at least 20 people as speakers, even if all of them didn't do nothing but get 10 people a piece, 200. And then what I'm going to bring to the table, why can't I expect anywhere from 300 to 500 people to be at the event on a bad situation? So that I make a significant amount of money on the front end and what comes in the back end. And it's easy to get caught up in the numbers. It's easy to get caught up in the income and, just be distracted. And I always have to woosah and come back and say, okay, but the bigger, better picture is this. And so the level of transformation that came from so many of those attendees who now actually happen to be speakers in this summit is something that's irreplaceable. Well, I realized that something happened to me this time around for the last 3 days, maybe even 4. I haven't marked it on a calendar to figure it out. I've been dealing with an abnormally high amount of I gotta find, look, I'm not usually one of the lost for words, but my spirit has been moved to a degree that I haven't seen it in a while, where I've been very overwhelmed and excited about the transformation for all of the attendees in a way that I can't even put it into words, where I've been sitting and I'm like, ooh, and I hear words about overflow and the love and the grace of God and abundance, where I'm like excited. But you all need to understand something, that this summit that I'm putting on, I tell people all the time, it's a passion project. You know what happens with passion projects, right? You watch movies like Honey and stuff like that. Passion projects, a lot of times, it looks like people just sleep on them because it's not glamorous. You know what I'm saying? If I called this the 10X Your Income Summit, I would probably have, if I did gimmicks, I know that I would have more attendees to register. But there's a level of purity and essence and authenticity that I have to reside in order to remain true to my brand, which may mean that sometimes it feels like I'm moving slower than I am, but I know why I'm doing what I'm doing. See, I visualize my expectations. I called a girlfriend the other night because I was just sitting. I visualize so much that I don't really sit down purposely to visualize. You reach a point where you don't, okay, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna see myself on that stage. It's one of those things where you could be listening to Les Brown and be like, that's gonna be me next. If you were, for those of you that get what I'm saying. And so I'm just sitting back and listening to music, doing my thing, and I decided to just get quiet and sit with it. And I'm just like, I went from me visualizing an overwhelm and an overflow for me, for realizing an overwhelm and an overflow for the attendees. And so I said, oh God, I get it. I see it. And whether it's in my income or not, definitely in my spirit, I am experiencing an overflow. I'm experiencing a quantum leap. And so I have a saying that what looks like a step back in the physical is often a quantum leap in the spiritual. And so there are so many things that happened to me that made me feel like things were pushing back against me physically. But I realized spiritually that the universe was saying, it's time, daughter, it's time. So whatever it is that you're doing, I want you to respect the position that you're at. Whatever it is that you're doing, I want you to embrace the purity and the essence of that thing that you were put here on this earth to create. And I want you to embody the process. See, people say trust the process. Matter of fact, I say don't rush the process, trust the process, but I also say embody the process. It just needs to get to the point that whatever it just is what it is. And so even though I had a few, issues this time, like, come on, God, I want more people to be there because I want more people to be transforming. Like, I'm going to give you all the people that you need to be there right now. Don't you understand that I'm wiser than you? Don't you understand that I'm wiser than you? When I say that it's supposed to be this many people, you just make sure you still doing what you're supposed to be doing. And don't quit and don't give up 3 feet from goal, and understand that I'm progressing you. I'm rising you. I'm raising you. I'm preparing you, for your next level. So that's my word of wisdom for you all today. For those of you that have not signed up for the Worthy of Abundance Summit, go to my website. This is not about you needing to declare that you are just a distraught, hopeless, helpless mess. This is about you saying, you know what? I want to go to my next level of my healing, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, financially, health, whatever. And I'm being very deliberate and intentional about getting to that place. So that's where I'm at. I love y'all. I'm going to let y'all go. And I'll talk to you later. Deuces.